Good morning, fellow students, faculty, and invited guests. Welcome to the first chapel speech of the 2024-25 school year. My name is Charlie Kray, and I am humbled and honored to be this year's head prefect. When I began to think about what I would say today, I was reminded of the first time I entered this chapel. It was the tie ceremony on my first day of grade 9. I remember sitting up front and waiting for my name to be called so I could receive my tie. I was filled with nervousness and excitement, not unlike emotions I felt today. On that first day of grade 9, I didn't know what to expect of my Appleby experience. But 3 years later, I'm glad to report I couldn't be happier how it's turned out. And that's what I'm here to speak to you about today. I want to talk to you about writing your Appleby story. During the application process, I remember watching a video of Dawson Meloche, the 2020-2021 head prefect. I remember thinking to myself that Dawson seemed so much older, so much more mature, and so much more confident than myself. I vividly remember telling my mom, I want to be like that guy. I didn't realize it at the time, but despite never having met Dawson or even setting foot in the school, I already wanted to follow someone else's journey instead of writing my own. This summer, as I prepared to move onto campus and assume the role of head prefect, I wondered if I had what it took to be a leader at the school. I started to doubt if I had the qualities that other leaders before me had. People like Dawson Meloche, Madhav Satija, and Leah Go. They all seemed so much more confident. Everything they did was so natural. They didn't seem to think about being a leader, but they simply were. It wasn't until this past week when the prefects came up with this year's motto, write our story. That's when I realized that what these leaders had wasn't some mysterious quality or natural talent, but rather they were comfortable with who they were in their story. And it got me thinking about my Appleby experience. Like many of you here today, I'm a kid from Oakville, but I really had no interaction or knowledge of Appleby. It was the late fall of 2020, and after considering some other independent schools, my dad asked a friend who was friends with Mr. Sampson if we could get a tour. A call was made, and Mr. Sampson was kind enough to give us a tour on a cold, rainy day in December. Within a few hours of that call being made, we met him in the parking lot, and he showed me and my family around. I remember thinking to myself that it was a good thing I had that face mask on so I could hide the goofy, ear-to-ear grin on my face. We started here, in the chapel, and I loved it all. The trails, the lake, the houses, the AWB. I was in love, and I knew this was the place for me. I remember my dad telling me to milk the school for everything it was worth. He told me to try new things, different things, make mistakes and fail, and challenge myself. I also heard him telling me that schools like Appleby were transformational. I didn't understand what that meant at the time, but I do now. I took cross country in the fall. Cross country isn't exactly what I'd call our most popular sport here, but I'm proud to call it mine. Looking back, I couldn't be happier. That's how I started my journey. It was awesome. I made it to OFSA, which is still an athletic highlight to me to this day. And there I met Riley Flemington, the best runner I'd ever seen, and one of the best the school has ever seen. He was great. He made me feel cool for running. He encouraged me and still keeps in touch to this day. Running has taught me more about myself than just about anything else. Running has shown me in a very literal and figurative way how far I've come from that first day and how far I've yet to go. So this year, as I embark on my final year at Appleby and join cross country for the very last time, I hope to make running cool just like Riley did. From grade 9 on, I met teachers and coaches who made my experience here special. People like Miss Millman, Mr. Patterson, Mr. VW, Mr. Richardson, Mr. Hay, and Mr. Sampson. I have an advisor in Dr. Palmer who treats me like family and constantly looks out for me. Last year, I was encouraged to do stand-up comedy as a co-curricular, a bold move in my story and one that never would have been on my radar, but without a doubt, one of the best decisions I've ever made. Comedy is something that took a lot of courage for me to do, but it's helped me grow in countless ways. I've debated here and I've played hockey and I've run track. I've been open to trying anything I could get involved in or something someone would push me towards. And that's my story. Well, at least for now. However, of all the lessons I've learned at the school, the one I feel is most important and the one you need to focus on is this. Write your story. Don't try and follow or live in or live up to someone else's. You should feel comfortable doing what feels right to you. The school has no shortage of opportunities for you to explore. No two people can ever really have the same journey, and if you try too hard to follow someone else's, you'll miss out on a lot. But writing your own story isn't easy. It takes courage. And so there's a quote I like that goes like this: "It's easy enough to be pleasant when life goes by like a song, but the person worthwhile is the one with a smile when everything goes dead wrong." And there will be times this year and throughout your lives when things do go dead wrong, or at least they feel that way. But this quote reminds us that one of the hallmarks of character is your mindset towards these challenges along the journey. And writing a story always requires other characters and some form of community. And that's what this year's motto is really about. Appleby isn't just one person, it's a community. It's a community of inspiring, intelligent, interesting, caring, kind, cool individuals who each have their own amazing stories to share. And it's no coincidence that we gather today in the chapel, because for over 100 years, this chapel has been the heartbeat and centerpiece of community for this school. We're here today to celebrate the beginning of a new year, like the thousands of other alumni who have come before us. Being here should remind us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. Individuality is wonderful, and Appleby provides you all with the opportunity to craft your personal stories. But Appleby also provides an opportunity to write a collective story. Our grade band, our advisor groups, our teams, our housemates, our classmates, and our dorm mates, all part of the fabric of a collective tale. There's a quote from a Greek philosopher that I like, and it goes like this: "The river I step in is not the river I stand in." I believe this quote aptly sums up our collective experience here at Appleby, because the school we entered on our first day is not the same one we entered on our second or third or 303rd day, because every day you walk into school, you meet new people, you experience new challenges, and you try to leave the school a different and even better place than how you first found it. And so far I've talked to you about my story, and hopefully reminded you to continue or to begin writing your story, both collectively and individually. But with all that said, don't forget to be a part of someone else's story as well, because you can end up being a super important character. Jacob Shadle was the upper school prefect when I was in upper one. Jacob took the time to get to know everyone. He treated everyone with respect, dignity, kindness. When you talked to him, he made you feel like you were the most important thing in the world, and that he didn't have anything else to do. Jacob helped me feel welcome here at Appleby. People think that to make a big difference, you need to focus on big stuff, but the little things are equally as important. Doing little things right can have a huge impact on others. And if Jacob hadn't done those little things right, I don't think I'd be standing up here today, and I don't think I'd be talking to all of you. Maybe more importantly, I want to tell you about how I met one of my closest friends here at Appleby. When I first started, I didn't know anybody, but one person, one singular person, had the kindness to invite me to hang out and have lunch with them. They introduced me to their friends and made me part of their community. They'd already begun their Appleby journey here, and they had no real reason to include me, but they took the time to become a main character in my story. If it hadn't been for this person, I wouldn't have met some of the best people I know. I hope these two examples from my experience here are a reminder to you. Don't take anyone or anything for granted. Be kind for no other reason that it'll make you feel good and make someone else feel even better. You never know when you might just meet a future best friend. And if this has happened to you, thank them and tell them how much they mean to you. Being a student here at Appleby is a privilege, and it carries with it responsibility. I encourage everyone to do those little things right. Say hello to someone you don't know. Say thank you. Say it often, and say it sincerely. Always be grateful. Remember that when you return to Appleby in 5, 10, 25, 50 years from now, no one will remember the grades you earned, the embarrassing things you did, or the leadership roles you held. They will remember how you acted, how you treated others, and how you made them feel. You won't regret the things you think are so important now, but you will regret the chances that you never took, the people that you never thanked, and the opportunities you were given but didn't follow up on. I don't expect you all to go through life without no regrets or not worrying about things. But doing what feels right to you and embracing a we, not me mentality is one sure way to have fewer regrets. And for those of you who are entirely new to the school, I hope that you've had a good first couple days and are starting to feel a little more comfortable. I can assure you that you will be fine. You will thrive and you will flourish, and you will grow into the person that you're meant to be. Your journey here will be unique, but not lonely. You'll be challenged, but not crushed. You will be guided and you will grow. And I promise you, you will be great. So with that being said, whether you have 5 awesome years ahead of you or you're entering the final chapter of this amazing story, I want you to make the most of this year. Accept challenges as they arise and dare to be yourself. By the end of the year, I hope you think back to this moment, right here in the chapel. I want you to think back to the person you were when the journey started, how the journey felt, and the person you became along the journey. My hope is that you've all written for yourself the most dazzling, most beautiful, most memorable story of your life, and I want you to be proud of the tale that you tell. Thank you, Appleby.